Hey guys, so today I want to make a video to show you how to change the LCD screen in the Moto G4. First of all, you want to grab the phone, and in the bottom corner right here there's a tab where you can stick your finger in there, open the back cover. Next, to remove the battery, there's a slot right here. You can just stick your thumbnail in there and the battery comes out just like that. Next, you'll want to remove any memory cards or SIM cards that you have in here. I'll include links in the video description below the video for any parts that I'm going to be replacing today or any tools that I'm going to be using today. Anything that I think might be helpful to you, I'll include links in the video description below the video, so check it out there. Next, what you want to do is use a Phillips screwdriver size 1.5 by 4.5. At least that's what this screwdriver is. Another screwdriver that I use is size 000, so they vary in sizes. So depending on which tool set you get, they could vary in size. So either one of those two sizes should work. So you want to take a screwdriver and you want to remove these Phillips screws. There's 15 total in here. If this video was helpful to you so far, I would appreciate if you would give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. That would be helpful to me. So now that you've removed all those 15 screws, the only ones you need to keep separate is these two right here. They're shorter than all the rest, but all the others are the same size. So those are the only two you need to keep track of. Now next, I discovered there's actually a screw under this cover right here. It's just a little thin piece of adhesive tape. So you can just slip under there with something and peel it up. And you need to remove that screw right there as well. Next, we can just start somewheres. And this whole piece here should pick right up. So next, where we're going to start is I'm going to use the tweezers. You can use something and just pop up this antenna wire right here. Just unclip that from the board. Next, we're going to use a plastic pry tool or your fingernail. Don't use something metal for this. And we're going to pry up on this connector right here. And carefully pry up on this connector here. And we're going to use the Phillips screwdriver and remove that screw right there. Next, you can pry up carefully on this. Now you want to tip this back. And the reason for that is there's a connector right down in here. So we need to pop this loose. Then the whole board lifts out just like that. Next, we can use something like a pry tool or something and just carefully pry up under this earpiece speaker. Starts lifting up, you can just grab it and it comes right out. Like next, down here in the charging port, we need to remove these two Phillips screws right here. Next, we're going to use the tweezers and pop up this antenna wire right here. We're going to pull this out to swap it over to our new screen. Next, we can just use our plastic pry tool, pry up on this connector right here. Then I'm going to use the tweezers to sneak under this vibrator right here. And this whole part, they're all built together, the vibrator and the charging port, and that pops right out of there. You can just carefully peel this up, and also peel up this flex cable here. So now what I would look for in a screen is get one that has a frame already assembled. They're not too readily available yet, but if you do some looking, you can find them. And they should become more readily available as this phone becomes a little older. So hopefully by the time you need to replace your screen, there'll be more screens readily available. What you're going to look for is a screen that has a frame already assembled. If not, you're going to need to heat this up and remove this frame all the way around here. And it's a lot of extra work, so that's why I would recommend getting one with the frame. So now that we've removed the charging port, the earpiece speaker, and all this stuff, that should be all you need to swap over to your frame, except sometimes the power and the volume button need to be swapped over too. I already removed the power button here, so that's what it looks like. It has these little nubbins right here, and they stick through from the other side. You can see I already partly removed the volume button right here. So what you do is you just go down in there with something. I use the tweezers for this, and you just push it out. Then they pop out like that. They have those little nubbins right there that I was talking about. And be careful when you push them out, because the last one, when it lets loose, it goes flying and you could lose it if you're not careful. You need to remove those buttons if your new frame doesn't have it. Next thing we'll need to change over is the flex cable for the power and volume buttons. And what I found, if you use something really thin like this tweezers, if you start on the front here and you slide behind this flex cable all the way down through here, it gets loosened right up. Then the whole flex cable comes out like that. So it's just a delicate little part like that. So now that you have your new screen, let's swap everything over to it. First, we're going to start with the power volume button flex cable. We're going to set it right down in there, and it sticks against the side. This little notch right here tells you right where it's in place. So you want to stick it against the side there. Next, we're going to set our volume buttons in here. So you just pop those in. They should click when you're all done, so you know that everything's lined up good. Next, we're going to do our power button, and you can see on the power button that it has that thinner part like that on one side that goes up. Once you set that in place, then you just push it in, make sure it clicks. Next, we're going to grab our charging port. I'm going to set the vibrator down in here first, and everything else just falls right into place. Now let's go ahead and put our two screws back in the charging port. Next, we'll grab our antenna wire, set it right down in the channel where it goes, clip it in all the way up, and then refasten it onto the charging port. Next, we'll grab this flex cable, so we'll snap the connector into the charging port, and it has a hole there that you can line up and a hole there you can line up. Then you can press that down. Then we'll grab this sticker, stick it back down in there, Then we'll grab our earpiece speaker, set it down in there and press down. Make sure that the little contacts that stick up are on the left side. So next you want to set your board down. You want to set it up at an angle like this and get this connector reconnected. Then we want to set this down. You want to watch these connectors here and this antenna wire here so they don't interfere. Gently set that down in place. You want to make sure the front camera sits down properly. It likes to catch sometimes there. Then go ahead and put your screw back in right there. Next, let's reconnect this little connector right here. So by pressing down, it should snap right in. Reconnect the big connector right there. It should just snap right in. Then I found that using a tweezers or something little to steady this works the best. Then grab your antenna wire here, nice and square, and it should just snap right on there. Next, we'll just grab this back part here. Set it down on top of the phone. Just press down, make sure it's sitting down. Go ahead and put all your 16 screws back in. So then once you got all your screws back in, remember to put the short ones on here and on here. And grab your piece of tape, set it down on top of that screw right there. Next, put in any SIM cards or memory cards that you have. And then grab your battery, make sure that the contacts are in that corner and in that corner. Just set your battery down in there, press it down. Next, grab your back cover. Set it down on top of there. Just snap it in all the way around and you're all set. Thanks for watching.